There's something you need to understand about children, Taurus. They're not just little people learning to live. They're open portals between dimensions, pure channels through which the universe speaks directly to those who can still hear. And you're about to receive a message from one of them, a message so important that it will upend every certainty you've built about your life so far. Right now, somewhere near you, there is a child whose words carry your future. They don't know it. To them, it will be just another thoughtless phrase, another innocent observation about the world. But to you, it will be the moment that divides your existence into before and after. The moment you realize that your entire adult life was built on fragile foundations, and that the time has come to rebuild everything on something real. Why a child? Because adults have lost the ability to convey pure truths. We've learned to filter, to soften, to lie out of politeness. We've learned that certain things shouldn't be said, that certain truths are too harsh to share. But children haven't yet learned to lie to protect other people's feelings. They say exactly what they see, exactly what they feel, exactly what the universe needs to be said. And you, Taurus, need to hear something no adult would have the courage to tell you. Something about how you've been living your life. Something about the choices you've made. Something about the path you've been following that deep down you already know isn't right for you. The child who's about to speak to you isn't concerned with sparing your feelings. They're only concerned with being honest. And it's precisely this brutal honesty that will save you from continuing to waste your existence. Remember when you were a child. Remember how you saw the world differently. Remember how everything seemed possible, how your dreams were big and real and urgent. What happened to that child? Where did she go when you grew up and learned that dreaming is dangerous, that standing out is uncomfortable, that being practical is better than being happy? She didn't die, Taurus. She's just waiting for someone who speaks her language, waiting for a message that will wake her up again. The child who delivers this important warning will recognize something in you that adults can no longer see. They will see through all the masks you've learned to wear, all the defenses you've built, all the excuses you've created to justify a life that doesn't truly fulfill you. They will see the child you once were, the one who still pulses within you, stifled but alive, waiting for permission to dream again. And when she speaks to you, and she will, you can be sure of that, her words will pierce through all your rational defenses like a well-aimed arrow to the center of your chest. You'll feel something you haven't felt in years, the sweet pain of recognizing a truth you've tried to forget, the pain of realizing how much time you wasted pretending to be someone you're not, the pain of understanding that your real life was waiting for you all along. But you chose to live a diminished version of it because it felt safer. For Tauruses born between April 20th and April 30th, this child will talk about dreams you abandoned to be responsible. They'll ask why you stopped doing something you loved, and the question will cut deep because you won't have a meaningful answer. For those born between May the 1st and 10th, the warning will come about relationships. The child will observe something about how you behave with someone close to you and will point out a pattern you know is wrong. And for those born between May 11th and 20th, the message will be about authenticity. They'll comment on how you act differently around different people, and this will force you to face how false you've been to yourself. A tightness in your chest that comes from recognizing a truth you knew but pretended not to know. A chill that runs down your spine when you realize that a child has seen in seconds what you've been trying to hide from yourself for years. A mixture of relief and dread when you realize you can no longer pretend not to know what needs to change in your life. The universe chose to use a child because you stopped listening to the subtlest signs. How many times did your intuition try to warn you that something was wrong? How many times did your heart ache when you made a choice that didn't make sense to your soul? How many times did you feel that inexplicable emptiness in the midst of achievements that should have made you happy? You ignored all these signs. So now the message comes through a channel you can't ignore. the absolute purity of a child. There's something devastatingly beautiful about the way children see life. They're not afraid to dream big. They're not ashamed to want extraordinary things. They don't worry about whether their desires are realistic or age-appropriate. They simply feel what they want and express it unfiltered. And when one of them looks at you and makes a simple comment about your life, you'll remember what it was like to be that way. You'll remember when you too had the courage to want what you truly wanted, unapologetically. The pain you'll feel when this happens isn't destructive pain, it's healing pain. It's the pain of a wound that can finally be healed because it's been exposed to the light. For years, you've kept this wound hidden, covered by layers of justifications and rationalizations. I'm an adult now, I need to be practical. I can't dream like I did when I was a child. Life is like that. Not everything goes the way we want it to. Nay, but when a child puts their finger right where it hurts, you'll realize these excuses were just ways to avoid facing how much you've betrayed yourself. The child who will give you this warning isn't worried about the consequences of what they're about to say. They're not calculating whether their words will hurt you or make you uncomfortable. They're simply being honest, as only children can be. And it's precisely this unfiltered honesty that will break down the barriers you've built around your heart. It will force you to feel things you've been avoiding, to acknowledge truths you've been avoiding. You can try to downplay what she says. You can try to explain to yourself that these are just the words of a child who doesn't understand how the world works. But deep down, you'll know she understands better than you do, because she hasn't yet learned to lie to herself. She hasn't yet learned to accept a mediocre life in the name of security. She hasn't yet learned that it's dangerous to want too much, to dream too much, to expect too much from life. What will impact you most will not just be what she says, but how she says it. With that devastating simplicity only children possess, with that clarity that cuts through all your mental complications and gets straight to the point. She won't deliver a long or philosophical speech. It will be just one sentence, maybe two, delivered so naturally and unpretentiously that you'll almost miss it. Almost. But you won't miss it because your soul is ready to receive this message. It's hungry for this truth you've been denying yourself. It's tired of living on the surface when you were born to explore the depths. It's exhausted from pretending to be satisfied with crumbs when you deserve life's full banquet. When that moment arrives, and it will arrive sooner than you think, you will feel as if time has stopped, as if the entire universe has paused to allow you to fully absorb what is being revealed. You will look at this child and see not just a small person, but an angel in disguise. A divine messenger comes specifically to free you from the prison you have built around your life. And in that moment of pause, of recognition, of painful clarity, you'll have a choice to make. You can pretend you didn't understand the message. You can force a smile and change the subject. You can go back to your usual life as if nothing had happened. Or you can let those simple words do what they were meant to do, shatter the illusions that have kept you small, and give you permission to finally grow into the person you were meant to be. The beauty of this experience lies in its simplicity. It won't be a dramatic event full of obvious signs. It will be a seemingly ordinary moment, a casual conversation, a passing comment. But for you, it will be the most important moment of your life. The moment when a fundamental truth about your life will be revealed through the absolute purity of a childlike perspective. Children have a unique ability to see through the masks adults wear. They feel energy in its purest form without the mental complications we develop. When a child looks at you, they won't see your professional achievements, your social status, or your bank account. They'll see your essence. And if your essence is stifled, if you're living a life that doesn't honor who you truly are, they'll sense it immediately. The warning you'll receive through this child isn't a punishment. It's a gift. The universe is offering you an opportunity to wake up before it's too late, before you spend more years living a life that isn't yours. Before you become just another person who reaches the end of their life wondering, what if I'd had the courage to be who I really was? You already know deep down which area of your life needs to change. You know which dream you've abandoned, which passion you've neglected, which truth about yourself you've avoided facing. The child who will speak to you will know too, and they will put their finger precisely on that wound, not to hurt you, but to heal you. When this happens, you might feel like crying. You might feel a confusing mix of relief and sadness. Relief because someone finally saw through your mask and still didn't run away. Sadness because you'll realize how much time you wasted pretending to be someone you're not. But most of all, you'll feel hope. Hope that change is still possible. Hope that true life is still possible. The message this child will give you won't be about what you should have done in the past. It will be about what you can still do in the present, about the doors that are still open, about the dreams that can still be realized, about the person you can still become if you have the courage to stop pretending and start living. The universe doesn't use children as messengers on a whim. It does so because they are the only human beings who still maintain a direct connection to pure truth. They haven't yet learned to question their intuitions, doubt their perceptions, or censor their observations. When they feel something, they express it. When they see something, they speak it. When they perceive a truth, they share it without fear of the consequences. And it's precisely this lack of filters that will make the message so powerful, because you won't be able to rationalize or diminish the impact of what she says. You won't be able to find alternative explanations or more comfortable interpretations. The truth will come to you in its purest and most direct form, with no possibility of escape or denial. In the days leading up to this meeting, you may begin to notice the children around you more. You may feel drawn to their conversations. You may find yourself observing how they play, how they laugh, how they express their emotions without shame. This is no coincidence. It's your soul preparing to receive the message. It's your inner child stirring, knowing that your liberation is near. Pay special attention to those moments when you feel nostalgic or melancholic, when you see children being spontaneous. This feeling isn't just a longing for a simpler time. It's the recognition of a part of you that was silenced but never completely died. It's the pain of realizing how much you've changed since you were little, and not always for the better. The child who delivers the important message could be a family member, a stranger you meet on the street, or even a child you see in public. What matters is not who they are, but what they represent in that moment. The voice of the universe speaking directly to you through the absolute purity of a child's perspective. When she speaks, you'll feel instant recognition. You'll know, without a shadow of a doubt, that message was meant for you. That this moment was orchestrated specifically so you could hear what you needed to hear. And even though the words are simple, the impact will be profound and lasting. The most interesting thing is that, after this happens, you'll start to notice how children were always trying to teach you important things, but you weren't paying attention. You'll realize how many times they made comments or asked questions that could have helped you see your own contradictions, but you dismissed them as childish things. The truth is, children see things adults can no longer see because their eyes aren't clouded by years of social conditioning, fear of others' judgment, and conformity to external expectations. They can still distinguish between what's real and what's just acting, between what comes from the heart and what comes from the need for approval. Taurus, once you receive this warning from a child, your life will never be the same. You can try to ignore what they said. You can try to return to your normal routine, but the seed of truth will already have been planted. And once a truth is acknowledged, it cannot be unacknowledged. It will grow within you until you have no choice but to act on it. The process can be uncomfortable at first. It can generate anxiety, doubts, and a feeling that your life is about to be turned upside down. But this disruption is necessary. It's the sign that something that was stagnant is finally moving. It's the sign that you're about to move from a life of survival to a life of fulfillment. The child's message will act as a catalyst for changes you already knew needed to happen, but have been putting off out of fear, comfort, or lack of knowledge about where to start. It will give you not only clarity about what needs to change, but also the courage to make those changes. And here's the most beautiful part of all this. When you start living according to what this child will show you, you will rediscover your own ability to see the world through purer eyes. You will dream again without shame, desire without fear, hope without hesitation. You will reconnect with the child you once were, who always knew exactly who you truly were. The universe has been preparing this encounter for a long time. It's aligning circumstances, moving people, creating opportunities for you and this child to cross paths at the perfect moment. The moment you're ready to listen and they're ready to speak. The moment your resistance is low enough to allow the truth to penetrate and their wisdom is clear enough to be conveyed accurately. When that moment comes, don't try to overanalyze what's happening. Don't try to rationalize or find logical explanations. Simply receive. Simply allow those simple words to do their healing and awakening work. Simply trust that the universe knows exactly what you need to hear and when you need to hear it. The transformation that will result from this encounter will not be instantaneous, but it will be irreversible. It will be like a river changing its course. Once the new direction is established, there is no going back to the old path. And while there may be moments of uncertainty or fear during this transition, you will always remember that child and the absolute clarity with which they showed you the truth. Years later, when you're living a life that truly resonates with who you are, you'll remember this day with profound gratitude. You'll remember the courage it took to hear an uncomfortable truth and act on it. You'll remember how a child managed to do in a few seconds what years of therapy, coaching, or self-help couldn't. Awaken you to your own authenticity. If this message reached you, it's because you're already being prepared for this encounter. Your energy is already aligning with the frequency needed to recognize and receive the warning when it arrives. Share in the comments if you've been feeling particularly nostalgic lately when seeing children, or if you've gained unexpected insights through simple conversations with them. Subscribe to the channel, because what will happen after you receive this warning is just the beginning of a profound transformation that will require guidance and support. You'll need help interpreting all the changes that will begin to occur, navigating the challenges of living more authentically, and maintaining the courage to remain true even when it's difficult. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out on guidance that will help you integrate this experience and transform it into concrete changes in your life. Remember, the universe doesn't send messages randomly. When it chooses a child as its messenger, it's because the message is urgent and transformative. Prepare your heart to receive this truth that will free you from a life that was never truly yours.